kids.
We're going to come in too hot with these
way
intros.
Too hot.
We got to tone it back a step or two.
It's season 3. We're going to try and get fucking banned.
Let's get canceled, friends.
It's like we're trying to make it to 100 episodes, but if we can say something so off the cuff that stops us from that progress.
I want a copyright strike before we reach 100 episodes. Let's go.
Like, I want to lose
We've had no
sponsorships.
pushback. Nobody's told us to stop. We're doing something wrong.
So I guess we got to keep pushing the line then.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
Push it
you know
more.
what?
Push it more.
I did not care for The Godfather.
I did not care for The Godfather.
Welcome, everybody. It is officially season 3 of Every Film in the Book. I don't know if you guys have noticed, we're done with the childishness of the green screen.
We're getting serious,
We're
folks.
in a fucking undisclosed location.
Yeah, we bought a warehouse. We're getting nuts with it. We bought a warehouse. Not on camera is the helicopter we took to get here.
Yeah, my diamond-plated limousine, dude, it doesn't fit in my parking lot anymore.
This is so unreasonable.
No, well, dude, we had to go big. We had to go crazy for this new season. So yeah, diamond-plated limousine is how we're traveling. From
Absolutely
now on.
wild. We have a couch, a coffee table, and a chair. So
And there's fire.
if you
There's a danger
typically if you typically listen to this on Spotify, come over to YouTube so you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, because we're sitting in different places on different things, still talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just sitting on different stuff now.
Same idea, different positions.
We love trying new positions. So
as we all sit in the same order.
yeah.
It's literally we're just sitting on different things.
Oh
now.
my God, yeah, we're just instead of a triangle, we're now in a weird angle.
Yep.
But anyway.
And Steve looks down at us when our opinions don't align with his.
Oh.
Just like, you are not good enough. And then I can unplug all of your stuff.
It's like, no, opinion's wrong.
Opinion's wrong. Michael, what movie did we cover this week to start off this new one?
Well, coming out of last season, we got a little silly towards the end of last season doing some dinosaur movies. So we wanted to take do a good solid film. So we picked Children of Men.
Children of Men.
Children of Men.
Dude, I remember we got away with watching this in my high school film class, and we should not have been able to watch this.
I swear you have seen every movie in your high school film class. Like, I don't know how you convinced your teacher
She was not a very good.
Wow, see,
to watch all these movies.
Yeah.
the way we did it was when we watched a movie, permission slip got sent home.
Mm-hmm.
Parent or guardian had to sign it. That's how they always worded it. They're like, and this needs to be signed by a parent or guardian.
I was homeschooled, so I had never experienced that.
Film class was a Blockbuster, and I just looked at whatever looked cool and I grabbed that off the shelf. But no, this was one of those ones I had never heard of, and then the kid sitting next to me was like throwing out ideas, and this was one, and I was like, yeah, fuck it, let's check it out. So we sat there and watched it, and like the premise was so fun. I was just kind of like, I may be like depressed at the end of this movie, but I kind of almost want like more of this world to kind of like.
I would like to correct you in saying that the premise is fun. It's definitely not fun. I think we can agree as a podcast that it's not a fun premise. It's an interesting premise.
Allow me to counter argument.
Yeah.
You're out at a restaurant. The youngest person in the world is only 18 years old. There's no screaming babies while you're trying to eat your nice chicken cutlet, you know?
How fun.
It's kind of fun.
How fun. Yeah, I mean, this movie really gets deep into some topics that we are going to go through here. One of them being the world in disaster, which a lot of movies start out that way. I think it's interesting, we see the reasons why people can't have children. That's the whole premise of this movie.
And actually, the thing I like about that is they don't really give you like a solid explanation. It's just kind of like, for some reason, one day people just started miscarrying, and then it skyrocketed through there.
Well, and the what I love is when they don't say it,
Right.
they show it. They're not no words show up on the screen except for a place,
Right.
right? Like,
Yeah, it just tells us the
there's
year
not,
and the setting.
you know, this is what's going to be, and nobody's going, this is what the movie's about.
No monologue.
No, this is what the movie is. You know, the movie you're watching, I have to tell you what it's about, even though you're looking at something.
But like the reason why that's so cool is because it makes you, as the watcher of the movie, theorize for yourself.
Right.
It's not being fed to you. You have to conclude why these things are happening and all of that. So yeah.
It's almost like
100% agree.
left room for conversation about we should probably talk about it.
Oh my god.
We should probably talk
I think
about
we
it.
should record it and make it a thing.
This is a movie to talk about for sure.
Yeah, no, this was fun. Well, I keep saying fun because I don't know how else to describe. But no, it's a good point, because it's like this world feels so lived in, and the fact that there's not like some booming voice person at the beginning like, in time in memoriam, people stopped being able to have kids and the
Right.
world crumbled. It's like from scene one, like seeing like, you know, how people are reacting to like immigration coming in, and how people are reacting to like the youngest person dying. Like everybody is just like so involved in like age now, and like, oh my god, like now the next person's only 18 and a half.
That's
like,
the one thing that the whole world can talk about
right.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody can look around and see who is the youngest person, whatever. But it's like a unifying thing.
Right.
I don't want to say it's like it's kind of like COVID, right? Like when it's happening to everybody, we all can like kind of
Everybody knows about it. Everybody's talking about
Yes.
it.
Right.
There's not
So
a single
much.
person who doesn't know about
Right.
it.
Right.
And yeah, that's, I think, the reason why they cover it so much in their news is just because it's one thing everybody can centralize around.
It's the only thing like uplifting. It's like, hey, there's still hope. We still have some like younger people
Right.
who are still like developing, and maybe we can get like pregnancy back. But like,
Yeah.
it's kind of it's an interesting concept to think about. Like, if the human race is going extinct, like how would society handle that?
Right.
And I think the way they portrayed it is 100% accurate.
That's how I would want it to be handled. Chaos and anarchy.
People are going crazy
Right.
because within less than 100 years' time, all of humanity is going to go extinct.
Right.
That insane concept just makes people go crazy, especially coming from governments and countries that are already at war with one another.
Right.
They're just gonna go crazy because they're like, we're all gonna die anyway.
Right.
Yeah, because like this takes place in England, and I think we only get like a little blurb that says like the United States has basically like bombed itself off of the map.
Yeah, there's that video on the train.
Oh yes.
Where they're saying like this country has fallen, that country has fallen, UK is the only one that's
Right.
still like England is still going strong.
Right.
I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I buy Europe's what made it.
Well, they started producing tea again. and
Yeah.
then-
The imports, exports, it was all
It's all
fine.
tea. I do think it's partially them trying to convince their own citizens that like, don't leave. This is the only place that you need to be.
Yeah.
Well, they do have a bunch of people going like, because later on in the film they're like, well, that's how like the government has bombed things,
right.
Yeah.
So there is like a general mistrust for all of authority,
Right.
which I like that, because if the world's gonna end, it's like, you fuckers, wait, get out of here. Like, no.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Michael
Nah, you
says kick
fuckers.
a police officer in the balls.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a level of like government control over their own citizens.
Right.
And at the same time, they don't want other people coming into their country because resources are going to be limited now that, population is dwindling. We're not making more people. So there's, less workers, less farmers, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody wants to go to the place that's going to be the nicest, longest.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
so,
I'm going to be able to eat more over there. I guess I need to be in that country.
Right.
Yeah.
The
And
one that's got it together.
I don't think that they're trying to say that there's nobody in the whole world. Like, obviously, there are people in other countries.
Yeah.
It's more of just like their governments probably have fallen.
Right.
And England still has like an established
Yeah,
government.
it's definitely like the other parts of the world aren't important enough to show us what's going on there. So that leads me to believe they're
And
either...
we agree.
Yeah, they're...
We agree. They're
like,
not important.
They either blew themselves off the planet or they just don't have leadership or anything like reaching out and keeping in touch with other leadership.
The one thing there is the government's doing the TV now.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Is it really?
Right.
They're in control of all the media because like
Yep.
the only media you see is news and the propaganda for the government stuff.
There's
that they
like
play.
there's no like TV, there's
Which
no
is
like
a
talk shows anymore. There's nothing.
Classic government thing to do, propaganda. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah,
Let's
like
make it
it's
fun,
on the
though.
subways. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't seem that fun.
It really didn't.
not.
There was only terrible things on television.
Yeah.
Steve has said fun like 10 times, and I haven't been having fun this whole time.
No, nothing but fun.
It's great. We're
having
everything's
fun.
fine. Everything's fine.
No, but like it I don't know. I think the hardest thing for me to grasp would be like, why would you want to fight and like be in wars knowing that the human race is extinct anyway? You would think you would try to avoid that to keep as many people alive as possible.
Oh, Steve,
No,
you silly,
silly
little
man.
empathetic little baby.
We're killing everybody because we can now.
Oh,
Because we can. People are not inherently good.
Yeah, that's the thing is
yeah.
people
are not inherently good.
people suck.
People
Most people
are
suck.
awful, and some of them have guns.
A lot of them do. And I think it's like hopeful to think that people would join together and try to make the world a better place.
I'm not even saying like join together. Like you think people would just like split off and like be on their own and not want to be involved.
No,
and,
because you can't go to the grocery store anymore.
yeah, but there's squirrels outside. I could shoot a squirrel.
Yeah, and you've got the skills to survive without the grocery store, Steve. Where we
No.
are, right here.
Wait, will Outback still be
Where
open?
we are in our
No.
well, at this undisclosed location, we've got a ton of stuff, so we'd be fine.
I was like, is the Carrabba's still open? Because I'll go there instead of the grocery store.
No, I think what it's more about is dividing people. So
Right.
they're dividing people by labeling as immigrants and England citizens.
Right.
So, there's that war, there's the police and the authority versus the people.
Right.
And I think that it doesn't really matter if everybody generally wants humanity to survive.
There's not enough stuff for it.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
too much conflict going on between the different groups of
So
people.
I get it. If it's my country
Mm-hmm.
and I have all my people and our society is still functioning at some level, we can't let everybody in or else it ruins it. So I get it from the government's stance, and the only way governments think they can do that is through control.
Right.
Sure.
'Cause it's
Which
like,
is
where are
so
we
it's
gonna-
pretty accurate on
It's accurate
know.
to, I think, what a government like that would do.
completely reasonable. Yeah.
Obviously, you can have a different belief. You can think like me and say, I think if you have already a dwindling population, maybe we let some people in so that we can grow and become a bigger community, make the economy better. But, that's just, that's
Yeah,
how
but
I think. That's not how the
the
governments
problem
think.
is if you can feed 7 million people, you can't feed 11.
Right. But also you could expand your food production. You could grow with the people that you're coming that are coming into your country. And it's like, why can't we just make a bigger community? Although, I'm American and we're all about American
we're-
was founded on
Yeah.
immigrants.
Let people in.
Yeah.
My thing is they would have a resource cap because of how the world is.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they go beyond that, then everybody suffers.
Right. No, I get it. And they're trying to maintain what they have and not overload, because it's now, how are we going to feed these people? Where are we going to put these people? Like, we don't even have enough for our actual people. So, like, yeah, I get that. It's just one of those things where I'm like, why would we start shooting if we're going extinct anyway?
And here's the other
but
thing.
like, yeah, it makes sense.
Other people would try to take your resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I can get 1 million people into a country,
Right.
and then I just go, all right, we're taking over now. That's kind of what the government needs to stay in power,
Right.
because they're the ones in power. Power just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
It gets worse. So that's like, they locked it down, made all the rules, control the media. Now keep it this way.
Now, it's not a good system
But
for the people living in it.
Yeah.
it's not great. But
It's good for the people in power, I'm sure.
But
you may blow up in a coffee shop.
that's actually kind of like a good point that you bring up, because when you really think about it, the only genuine good person in this movie was like Michael Caine and Michael Caine. But like the idea that even the guys who were on the good side, like the Fish's rebel group or whatever, who were trying to smuggle this girl out, even they had an agenda where they were like, oh, we're going to use this for political gain. They had their own leader assassinated by their own men. Like,
And that's what I'm saying, where
yeah,
if you just let everybody go free, that happens to your government.
right. Yeah, so it almost showed like even the people who were fighting for the freedom,
they still want.
They were still corrupted by the idea that they could gain power now. And like when Julianne Moore is just like, no, like this girl can be pregnant now. Like, we should nurture this. We should try and see what makes her different from everybody else. But no, instead they shoot her.
Well, and it's a good thing to show, like, humans will use something that could help everybody to help them.
Right.
Yeah, thus the title Children of Men, implying that fundamentally deep down we all come from this natural
Mine.
Yeah, like there's something in everybody that you are most concerned about yourself. Everybody deep down is selfish because you're trying to keep yourself alive.
Right.
And if you can gain something from hurting somebody else, most of the time you're going to take the gain. And that's just like the behavior of, fundamental humanity.
it's that's DNA.
Very human.
Yeah.
If you have more, I'm taking some.
Right.
Yeah, like you have more quarter zips than I do. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take them.
I might be taking.
You can try. You can try to take them, but you won't succeed.
You're gonna wake up tonight and I'll be in your closet taking them all.
You'll be underneath my quarter zip.
Now, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's
no.
good.
No, I don't think
not.
any of us are endorsing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But like
I'm not a big fan of putting people in cages and then dropping bombs on them.
Yeah, that's it's not right.
I tend
Especially
to avoid
with my
that. Yeah.
with my genetic background. Maybe don't keep them all in a fenced-in area. Not a big fan of that.
Yeah, not good. Not good. But yeah, and it shows that like even in those harsh times where it's like we should be being like, oh, it's our fellow man. They're hung out to dry. They're hungry. They're all that. And it's like, nah, fucking put them in a cage and get them the fuck out because like we can't handle it.
This is mine.
Yeah, like humanity has broken down to the point where we're not even like, say an English guy came here, we'd be like, no, get out, like go in the cage. Like it's just one of those things where it's like humanity isn't humanity anymore. It's the people who are here now, and then anybody else trying to come in is like.
Well, and whenever
excluded.
society crumbles, it goes back to a tribal nature.
Right.
Like that's how people were.
Right.
And once society doesn't work, when the safety breaks down, then you have tribal nature on a much bigger scale.
See, that's why I think Michael Caine had it the best. He just grew pot out in the middle of the woods and got high.
And it was
that's
just,
what I did.
what was it? Him, his wife, and a dog?
Yeah. And a dog.
And a vast vinyl music collection.
Oh, my God, yeah. Oh, dude,
You're
that
good.
music he played for him, it was like that weird, crazy, techno metal.
Techno metal. That was funny. It's just one of those things where you're like, oh, right. music, but I do like how he put it on. He's like, "You're gonna love this." It's like, no, this is bad. What?
Even us sitting there watching, I was like, "Wait, what the fuck? Is this the music he wanted to show us?"
Yeah, he's cool as a cucumber.
Oh, jeez.
Well, yeah. Was this anybody's first time seeing this? Other than all right,
It's always my first time.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
No, because I always thought this was one of those movies that kind of like fell on the edge of like the mainstream, where like I don't know.
And I don't know why
this
either.
was like too popular when it came out.
Yeah, it's not considered like a cult classic or a
Right.
hidden gem. It's like like people know this is a good movie. It
Right.
just isn't on a lot of lists.
Yeah, because I was looking at the director and I was trying to see like what else he did. He does like a lot of foreign films, but then the only other one I knew was he did Gravity, the
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock movie.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, so I kind of get it. It's like it's the same kind of idea where it's like you alienate one person and you go through their struggle.
You're giving away the movie secrets, Steve. that's how the sausage is made. We don't do that here.
But yeah, no, it was kind of cool because Gravity seemed like a less dystopian take on it, where it was like one person struggling against all odds to like get to a better like outcome. And it's just like Clive Owen in this one, where he was completely uninvolved with this. Honestly, he almost wasn't involved if he was still in that coffee shop and got blown up. So like the whole thing, like the whole movie almost makes you think it's just a series of coincidences that happen to save the human race.
Right.
Is it a coincidence though, or is it how it was always meant to happen? And that's, I think, where you kind of have to think of it in your own way. Like,
Right.
do you have that sort of outlook on life where you think everything happens for a reason,
Right.
this all happened for a reason, or is it just a bunch of coincidences?
Well, what do you think, Steve? What do you think was his motivation for putting his life in danger for, I don't know, 95 minutes of the movie?
Honestly, I think
Yeah, why do you think he went to those lengths?
my thought was the fact that he lost his child during like the flu outbreak, and then he loses his wife, and then like through the divorce, and then he actually loses his wife. So the idea of a new life being brought in, and he has the power to help that happen. I think he's like that's I think his main motivation is just, I can help start the next generation. And like, yeah, I may just be one person, but like I have nothing to lose at this point.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm gonna add something to this.
Okay. What do you got?
With all of that chaos happening, he had a job, he had a place to live, he had a coffee shop he went to in the morning. His life wasn't chaos, even though there was chaos around him. He had a role
Yeah.
in society. The old man, Michael Caine, had a house, had everything. His life was not chaos either. And he's somebody who has less of what children of men have.
Right.
That's what I think. From like anybody else put in that situation might not have gone to those lengths.
right.
But he was somebody worthy of that task,
Right.
because there's so much chaos. But when you look at his life and the people around him, they all have it together. His one buddy was the curator of, like, he was in
yeah.
charge of getting all the art back
Right.
that had been lost and destroyed. And so he was trying to pull together all of the art from the world.
Right.
You know, the guy in the woods, the old man, I'm not sure what he did,
Yeah,
Like-
I forget if they mentioned like what
he did, but
job
it was
beforehand
something important enough to be able to have that kind of oasis away from
Right.
such a chaos. Like even the entrance to his home, his driveway was blocked off. Like it was hidden, you
Yeah.
couldn't see it.
Yeah,
So I think that was kind of like, here is a task, and here is a children of man that's actually worthy of that task.
yeah. I don't even know if it's about worthiness per se. I think it's about how they're basically showing that he has empathy because he has a friend that he cares for. When his friend dies, he feels awful, and you can see he's actually upset. I think they're trying to show that he hasn't been fully corrupted by society and by the world, and that's really the reason why he has hope for humanity, is because he's still hopeful inside of him somewhere.
Well, that's what I meant, where he what caused the children of men to have the society collapse. He doesn't have that.
Right.
So then he, somebody who wanted, like somebody who was part of the reason why society collapsed would have used that to help themselves, not others. So he was a man that would do the task to help everybody.
Yeah, he put the
having
world
less of whatever the children of men have that
Right.
caused society to be like that.
And that's like in contrast to
it's
the
like super deep too. It's like hell yeah.
the friend who was collecting art.
Yeah.
It's just because he's trying to build his wealth. You can very clearly
Right.
see
They
he's
eating
flashing.
good. They're
Yeah.
eating good there.
He's flashing his wealth, but the ironic thing is, does wealth even matter at that point when
if society crumbles,
right?
I would
what's the riches
still
gonna do
like
for
to
you?
be in a super nice penthouse with the statue of David in my living room. That would be badass. I'm
Yeah,
not
and
gonna
your-
lie.
Your
I
son
might
playing
be.
a weird video game, and then you're like, "Eat your pills, son."
I might be the guy getting all the art because it's like I want to like cool. That was $48 million. Just go take it.
But yeah, I mean that's clearly him trying to flaunt, wealth,
It's
even
the
though it doesn't
affluence.
matter.
Now
Yeah.
it was a state-funded art collection, but he was in charge of it, and I feel like only a person that wants to be in charge of the art collection does that job.
Yeah, but no, and then God, what else? What was that other thing I wanted to touch on? Other than Michael's butt.
Whoa,
That's a good, yeah. That's,
no, that's a good one to
something
I don't remember that scene, but we can recreate it.
Well, I was gonna say, once it gets to the point of him accepting this task to, take this refugee to the humanities, whatever it's called, the
Oh
humanity group.
yeah, the Human Project.
At first, he's taking the job because he doesn't even know that she's
Right.
pregnant. He's taking the job because he's, I guess, just trying to get a little bit of money.
Right.
He thinks, I can handle it, whatever. I just have to drive someone across the line.
Right.
For the conversation, they pay him with a couple beers.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So it seems like a typical job that, somebody like him might pick up. And then, once it gets to the point of, oh, she's pregnant, that
Right.
changes everything.
'Cause,
It gives him motivation.
Yeah, because money is a motivator, but that'll only get you so far. And once
Right.
bullets
Yep.
start getting shot at
You're
you,
like,
you're
I'm
kind
out.
of like,
you're
money's
like,
not
all right,
worth it.
Yeah.
They paid me. I'm just gonna leave now.
Right.
Right.
And it even goes to show just like his determination. Even when he does catch a bullet at the end, he
keeps
his
going.
only priority is to cover her, make sure she's safe.
I like
walk
how-
her slowly out the building.
They didn't make it a big deal because he was hiding it from her.
Right.
They hid it from us too.
Right.
And I like that.
And it's like just from the context of that scene, he got shot.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, yeah. He's gonna catch one. Yeah.
So it's just like the fact that they didn't draw attention to it because he knows that doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is this girl and her baby and getting them out into safety.
And one thing I wanted to talk about, the relationship between him and his ex-wife.
Yeah.
That's a rough rough
That's
one.
rough.
You're married, everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You have a kid die in a global catastrophe.
Right.
Okay, I get it. But she can't look at you because
Yeah.
your son had his eyes to where she has no care for her
Yeah.
personal safety and is the leader of a rebellion that's labeled terrorists,
Right.
and he stayed and kept going to work.
Right.
That one, that's such a good story, because that's heavy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's heavy. Where it's like it wasn't like, well, we went to middle school together. It was like no, and you can tell they still care because you can tell they both understand why they can't be together. And then the interaction in the car, spitting the ping pong ball
Yeah.
back and forth.
It's like they haven't lost a
They
beat.
haven't lost
Yeah.
it.
Right. But they
No.
both understand it's better to be apart than together. Like I think.
Well, he realized that what she needed was not him anymore for
Right.
her to be okay, and I don't think he was okay with it. but he knew that's,
And he can't work
He
a
had
government
reconciled it.
job while she's
Yeah.
pursuing her passion
Yeah.
of helping people and being like a rebel.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's
leader of a terrorist
literally a rebel.
organization.
and it's,
Being married to a cop doesn't work.
Yeah.
and it's crazy to show like what the grief process can do to different people who went through the same trauma. They both experienced the same thing, but she went the activist route, and like he used to be an activist, but after that happened, he lost
his
interest,
way.
and he didn't have a view for like a better tomorrow because his tomorrow just ended with his kid dying.
Yeah, he's like, fuck it.
So
I'm
he's
gonna
like, fuck it.
go to work.
Why should I care about the well-being of
And
the
he was
planet?
he's knocking them back pretty steady
hit at the
throughout.
bottom of a bottle.
I love it. I would never think in a stressful situation to bring my flask, but I'm also not an alcoholic, so I don't carry alcohol on me all the time. But I love little breaks in movies where the alcoholics gotta top off because this is heavy.
Yeah.
No, but see,
Let me
like
fuel up again.
like those little details are the scenes in movies that I enjoy because it gives you more to the character without having to like write a dialogue about it and be like, oh Theo, I see you're still drinking again. And no, you take a scene where Michael Caine is just explaining his backstory, and you see him fill up his flask. He's taking
And
drinks.
nobody talks about it. It's
Right.
another one of these things. It's like you're not going to be fighting with the dude drinking if you got shot at yesterday.
Right.
Like even if you're an alcoholic, the day after you survive a terrorist attack, I'm gonna be like, you know what, Steve? Drink all you want today.
I'm going to have a little treat.
You know, actually, I'm going to drink with you today. That was really bad. This is very acceptable to be doing.
Well, and when the world is like it is in this movie,
knock them back, baby.
there's something terrible happening every day, I'm sure. So it's pretty likely that people will be alcoholics.
Yeah, I mean that's the dream, just
and he's
blissful ignorance.
And he's
Just
a real
drunk every day.
He's a real alcoholic because he didn't fill up people that fill up flasks to take to events are not alcoholics. People that bring the glass pints of alcohol, those are real alcoholics.
When you got one of them tucked
You're
in the
not
coat
even
pocket.
you're not even giving it a better container. It's not for the looks at all.
Yeah.
This container will do fine until it's empty.
Yeah. But no, I really liked his journey as our main character, and like how he, like you were saying, he just took the job originally for the money. It was an easy across the border, bing bang boom, and then his wife gets shot, and then he finds out the group that you thought were the good guys are actually the bad guys now, and they have their own agenda. So now his focus completely shifts to just this girl and her what did they call it?
A midwife?
Yeah, the midwife.
Do you know what a midwife is?
I don't know what a midwife is.
Okay. So a midwife is somebody
like a-
who helps in delivering a
Oh,
baby.
yeah. They do a lot of this
They
right
have
here.
they have knowledge surrounding health,
Slang
the care
nowadays
for the
leads me to a
baby,
different. It's like, oh man, that's a midwife.
You know how you're a sound engineer? Like that's
Yeah.
your job?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, their job was delivering babies.
Yeah. So she was
They get
really
good at it.
helpful to have around
Right.
in this situation, right?
Yeah.
Well, turns out she's not around in this situation because she gets pulled off of the bus that they're on, and so then that leaves him to deliver the baby, which is another like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's just got to figure it out, which is really interesting. But I mean, he also, I'm sure, was by his wife's side when she was
Right.
delivering, so he's just doing anything that he already knows.
Yeah, like when he teaches the baby or her how to like burp the baby at the end.
Yeah,
I mean-
or even in the delivery room, he
Right.
knows that, okay, I'm going to put a blanket under you.
He poured some of his alcohol on his hand. Like
yeah,
you need,
clean his hand, cut the umbilical cord, like all of that stuff. He at least had like an idea,
Right.
which was very useful.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he wasn't a cop, I would have questioned because he reacted quite well to being taken hostage, having guns pointed at him, having
he
guns
stayed really
going off.
calm.
Like he stayed pretty calm. All he had to do was be a cop. And then you don't have to talk and then nobody wonders why he's able to do these things in flip-flops.
Right. Well, it's
Why is he in flip-flops the whole time?
yeah, but like again, that is like a good way to tell your story, where you don't have to like have a person like me be like, well, if they would have just thrown in one little line to explain like why he knew how to do that, like. This director shows us
he's a cop.
From start to finish why this guy would have an expertise in some of these areas, why he would be a good choice for this job and like for the smuggling aspect of it. Like he does a great job of building the world where like a stupid person like me doesn't have to sit there and be like, but you didn't tell me he was a cop. How is he okay with getting shot at?
And at the same time, if you're a little more intellectual and you want to think a little deeper about it, you can infer these things through the little motions that they do and how they film things and the music and the soundtrack and all of that comes together very nicely.
But he was in flip-flops because when they escaped the safe house, he was in his socks. So when they got to the old man's house, he needed shoes. He tries on a couple pair, and they were too small, so he gets the flip-flops.
And then later, he's gifted a pair of sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
No socks, though.
No socks.
Ooh,
but
dry shoes. Ugh.
It's one of those little like things that you just thinking about, like, oh man, he's running around in flip-flops. That can't be very good for him. And then he gets the
slips
sneakers
and falls and stuff, and then he's more sure-footed when he has real shoes on. You're like, there's little stuff like that. It's like, thank you for doing that.
It makes it feel so real and human, because you know if you've ever tried to run in flip-flops, you're not really making it that far.
And also in a time of panic, you're going to grab what you can. And it's like, if flip-flops are all you have, you're friggin' running in flip-flops today. I'm getting in my 5 miles in flip-flops.
This movie is pretty gray.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gray. There's a lot of stone.
Well, when you're blowing up a country, there's probably a lot of smoke in the air.
Yeah.
A lot of pollution to cloud the sky.
Right.
I do like the difference between the refugees and the cops.
Mm-hmm.
All the cops were kitted up.
Yeah.
Like they all had body armor. Like they had full like riot gear for the police, and they were driving personnel carriers or tanks or something like that. And then the refugees are literally, a lot of them are in like coverings, not so much clothes. They're just in robes and kind of shitty clothes.
I mean, it also kind of gives that sort of
very
distinction between
classes.
Classes.
Yeah, the haves and have-nots.
Yep.
You could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just it's a shitty world, but it's a great world that they set up that like you can have stuff like this.
It makes you feel really immersed in it.
Yes, exactly. Like from that first scene to the last scene, you're like, holy shit, I would not want to live here. Like, you made this world terrible.
Every time they're in public, they're looking over their shoulder, like making sure
like you're always paranoid, you're always like uncomfortable. There's never a moment of peace, because even when you try and go and get your coffee in the morning, somebody's blowing you up. So it's like there's you're always on a swivel.
Heads on a swivel. What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I like that they're on a rural farm in Europe, and it's muddy.
Yeah.
That feels real.
That's how it is.
Small details.
And whenever you're trying to escape and there's mud, it just makes it way better. Like it just everything, like either the car can spin, like there's so many more things that you can do on film if it's muddy.
Speaking of the car spinning, we do have to talk about that one take where they're being chased by the rebels who are trying to assassinate the rebel leader ex-wife lady.
Right.
That's a lot. That's
a lot.
It was pretty freaking cool. That one scene takes it from just being like a sci-fi to like, oh, this is an action film. Like that's like the first one you really get that you're like, oh, okay.
And they put the camera in that tiny car, and you just feel stuffed. You just feel stuffed in there, and you're getting shot at. And then they show 70 people coming out of the woods, and you're like, oh right, there would have been gangs of bandits on the roads.
And like after I've seen this a few times, like there's like little dialogue in this scene where they're driving and that flaming car is getting pushed to block their way, and Julianne Moore is like, no, turn around, we're not going to make it, and the guy driving is like, no, we'll make it, when clearly you're not going to. But then you realize, oh, he's setting up her death. And then the guys on the motorcycle aren't just shooting, they're clearly aiming for her. So it's like you
realize it after the fact. You're like, he did just pull the gun out and shoot her once. Oh, okay.
Like they're not trying to stop them or take their car. Like this was planned
And
for a specific purpose.
They were throwing rocks and had sticks from the woods. These guys showed up a tandem on a dirt bike.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, there was that, distance between, okay, well, these guys they look like they're supposed to be here. The rest of the people just look like they're robbing somebody.
Right. Yeah, no, it's such a cool shot, because I'm pretty sure, now I could be wrong, but they literally put the cameraman in the car and he was just moving from like back to forward, and then as the car is reversing, then the camera kind of gives you the reverse, and then
you have to pay really close attention too if you want to see any of like they probably cut from here to there.
Right.
Anytime something kind of pans in front of the camera, it's like that's where they're splicing in the next film, which is really cool.
But like there's another scene like this towards the end that I was reading about, that the studio was like super worried about them doing. Because it took them 14 days to set it up, and it's that final scene where the fishes take the girl into the apartment, and Theo's got to run after her through that big war zone.
That's a big ask, yeah.
Yeah, so that took them 14 days to set that up, and it took them 5 hours to reset after each take.
So that's a lot of rent you're paying.
Ooh. So what they were saying is, I'm sure you remember when the blood splashes on the camera, that was an accident.
Yeah.
But they didn't have time to reshoot it, and the studio wasn't going to pay out another setup, so
it was
had
cool
to roll with it.
That was so cool. Like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Like you felt like you got blood on you.
Yes.
You're like, ooh, I got some on me.
If you were running through that and you just got splattered in the face with blood.
Right.
Because there was a tank in the road. There was a tank, and people splash.
Yeah, but it's
squishy.
People are just skin balloons of blood.
Yeah, just pop like that.
Oh my God.
And I do like when they shot her in the car. I've seen this movie several times, and I was mad. And then when you realize it's him doing it, I got mad again. And I'm like, you bastard. And then when he dies, like, fuck you. Sit there and but they don't show it. They just show what was building is now empty space.
Yeah.
So he's not here.
They're like, clear out the first floor. Got it.
Boom. And they shot a tank at a building from 48 feet away.
Yeah.
Big chunk of that building's coming off.
Lots of explosions in this movie. I kind of wonder what their explosion budget was.
$50.
Pyrotechnics was a bit wild.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of and then to see them bomb.
Yeah,
you're kind of like, oh man, there's all those people that were just trying to eat.
That
you're
goes,
like, damn it.
That goes back to this whole idea of like the coincidences, and if they were 30 minutes behind, they would have been caught in that, and that would have ended humanity.
You know what it is? Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
Life finds a way.
That's
sorry. I had to do it. I had to do it.
Aren't we done with the dinosaurs yet?
We even started a completely new season.
Just to get away from dinos.
Just
a callback or two. Nothing crazy, guys.
And then they come out with a new Jurassic World trailer. Anyway. One of the things I wanted to talk about too was theories on why people can't have babies anymore.
Right.
Because they do kind of talk about it, and the midwife is talking about how people just started having miscarriages. Right. If they did have babies, the babies would start dying. And one of the reasons they throw out is like, maybe it's pollution in the world.
It's microplastics. I've got I live in this world, and I have plastic in my nuts.
Plastic is in the air and the water now.
Yep.
So it's unavoidable.
Eventually, plastic is going to make people not work.
Eventually, there's going to be too much plastic in our blood, and our blood's not going to be able to move through our veins.
We're going to be real life Ken dolls.
But
hell yeah.
I mean,
it's not
kind
only
of a-
plastic.
it's kind of a thing.
It's also pollution from everything else that we're doing to the
Right.
world. And it's like that has an effect on the human body.
Right.
And you kind of it makes you think too that before this was happening, were there wars in this world that
Right.
were causing like nuclear
and
sort of radiation? And I think radiation can have an effect on fertility as well.
I think it was just the movie set a little bit into the future.
Yeah, 2027.
So I think it's kind of a commentary on this is what's going to happen regardless of what we do. Like there's more trash, like there's trash everywhere and people are just going to make more trash. There's plastic in your body, in all your organs now. Pollution sucks. Like this is just what's going to happen if we keep doing what we're doing. It's just like, all right, well, let's take a story from a snapshot in the future. Because
I mean, that's also a really big theme in sci-fi novels and movies, even from like the early 1900s.
If we keep doing what we're doing, it's all going to end. And it's just like, well, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong. And it's like people have been predicting for a long time that, you know, global warming and pollution and all this stuff, and humanity at some point will come to an end. It's just like, by what means?
And are we alive during the span where we see it?
Right.
Which, I mean,
it's crazy to think about.
But just to play like the other side of it, you could also maybe argue that it was like almost like a spiritual reason behind it, because like I feel like this movie plays a lot with like almost like destinies and like, you know, predetermined outcomes and like stuff like that. So like if you wanted to and you kind of lean more that way, like I agree where it's probably just pollution, there's trash, there's salt, but you could also maybe look at it as like a spiritual way, like almost like it's the new plague or it's like the new punishment from wherever that like
I mean,
attacks humanity.
I think that's why they leave it so open-ended, is because they want you to think about it.
Exactly.
And they want you to come up with your own conclusion.
Right. Like if you lean more to like the spiritual side of things, you may see this as like it's a punishment from above, or like if you lean more like, you know, in reality, I shouldn't say that. If you lean more like environmental, where you're like, oh, well, years of like doing this and like nuclear bombs, like that could also do it.
I'm on the there's plastic in your reproductive organs. Eventually there's going to be so much that nobody's going to work.
Yeah, it just clogs you up.
You just slowly will stop having, like, it's going to cause complications, and then eventually you're not even going to be able to conceive a child.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think, a combination of things, but all of it is leaning towards the idea that whatever we're doing in this world is pushing humanity into the ground.
And I think it's clear that we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or else they'd be like, the sun was blotted out because all the volcanoes went off at the same time. You know, they
or
would
like a giant meteor crashed into the earth and then nobody could get pregnant. It's like
Right.
that
It's
didn't
like,
happen.
It's like, no, they would have told us if they wanted it to be something silly, they would have told us.
Turns out Godzilla is real.
And the laser beam
makes people stop having babies.
it's just everybody. It's just instant vasectomy. Wow.
Yeah, it's like
the whole city infertile.
you can't have a giant radioactive lizard walking around and expect us to still have
it's
kids.
like they hand
all that
out
radiation.
they give me a lead mat when I get X-rays for a reason, you know, that goes across my waist.
Oh,
Oh
jeez.
my god! And to think this was back in 2006. It's now 2025, and it's like they were warning us back then.
We always
They've been warning us.
on the older movies. We always go and talk about the effects a little bit.
Right.
CGI baby.
CGI baby. They did
Danielle,
have a
take it
CGI
away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it wasn't the worst CGI baby. I feel like they
The one from Twilight, I think, was a lot worse. And that
Yes.
has
Yeah.
less
it's
of an excuse.
Renesmee. What's
But
their
it's
name?
still a
Fuck that
CGI
bitch.
baby, so it's kind of like I know
It's
it's the first one born in a long time, but that one's gross.
It looked a little bit like an alien. A
Yeah,
little
it's like-
bit.
It was too shiny. It's always too shiny.
Yeah, it's the shiniest, but I think they did it right by doing it in a dimly lit,
Yeah.
Yep.
similar to our dinosaurs
And-
from Jurassic Park.
Babies are shiny because
They're moist.
they,
Although
they've got slime on them.
the baby could have been more slimy, I think.
It could have been more slimy.
I think they could have covered
very
some of
very
it.
clean.
Yeah,
Yep.
babies have goo, like goo.
It's
There's a lot that comes out.
There's goo all over, and you have to literally like wipe it clean before you hold it. Like,
Yeah, the amniotic fluid.
sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a drop
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
up? What's up? I know people facts.
And they didn't even show the placenta, which I'm really
Which-
disappointed about. But
If as you
This is medically inaccurate. Where's the placenta?
well, they're shy on resources. They'd have been eating that placenta.
well, actually, they did show the next morning the mattress was like bloodied.
Yeah. Just,
Oh yeah,
It was
that was all
juicy.
tore up. It was a juicy mattress.
Which is again like one of those tiny things that you don't notice unless you look at it.
Right.
and then you really notice how dirty the mattress
Yeah.
is.
But she was kind of like leaning off to the side a little bit to like kind of get away from like that spot that was just made. But yeah, CGI baby, it was a little floppy at first.
It was very
Yeah.
flop. It was womp.
because they want
it didn't have bones. Like it was just.
Yep,
Womp. It was a
spaghetti
little
spaghetti
jelly.
arm baby.
which babies are kind of jelly, but I think they were just trying to show like some babies kind of come out and they're not awake yet.
Right.
Sometimes you have to slap the baby to make it cry to wake it up and make sure it's alive.
That's what it was. They were slapping the babies too hard, and nobody could have,
just
and
like
none of them were
spanking the
surviving.
babies.
Yeah,
Are you awake? Are you awake? Wake up!
My mom said they had to do that to my sister because she wasn't crying, and they're like, "Make sure it's alive."
yep. They'll
Smack
Slap
her.
it.
yeah, they'll give them a
Yeah.
little smack,
But
which
yeah,
is good. You know, that's what you need. So that you got to wake up now.
other than CGI baby, the rest of the effects great. A lot of
Yeah.
them practical. Even the explosions that were clearly done in post, like blowing up a whole city, they didn't really do.
Right. But
Looked really good.
They did. There's a part of Europe that's just gone.
No, but you're right. The things they were able to put on camera and do realistically, they did.
They did.
And they showed it with these like one shots that they did, and like
those are good.
this director did not like shy away from showing you like, hey, we took 14 days to set this up. You're gonna freaking see it on film. Like it's. You know,
And-
we don't get that nowadays as much, but like when you do, it really separates your movie.
I love it when a camera follows a scene.
Yes.
I hate it here.
Oh, like the
here,
cutting
here,
between,
like,
here.
action.
No, just follow them going through, and I love that because you're able to really pay it. You're able to see the movie when they show you the movie
Right.
instead of just.
It puts you
Yeah.
in it more as
Yep.
like you feel like you're walking through a town with them as opposed to getting little clips.
Yeah, because
like,
it
cut
feels
up.
like you're the one running behind Clive Owen. Like
And-
you're
yep.
following him into the building because you're like, oh, well, I have to stay low because the camera's low. He's low. Like everything's low. Things are flying all around us. Like it's a great way to show your action and put your audience into the action. Like it's hard to do, but he did it really well.
You did.
Not for this children of man.
Not for Mr. Alfonso Cuarón.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy this movie, and I think if you haven't seen it, you should take the time. It might make you uncomfortable. It might also be a wake up call to some people. Like
But-
it's a good story to really sink you into some deep themes.
Being uncomfortable is good. That's how we grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think sci-fi is always like what I recommend if you want a little bit of thought-provoking sort of movie.
Yeah.
It's less of a popcorn movie and a little more like, huh.
But also, there's a stoner who's really excited to tell the guy about the new weed he made.
Yeah. And he
You
wants
know?
you to pull his finger. He's a fun
Yeah.
little dude.
That was like
Yeah.
shot him like a dog.
Michael Caine deserved better.
I shoot him in the hand and then shoot him twice, and he's on the ground. It's like, come on, don't shoot, don't. A young guy, you can do that too. Don't
to the
don't
old
take a long
stoner.
time with the old hippie guy
Yeah.
who's you're
Like, don't
pointing
play
a
with
gun
your
at, and he
meal.
says, "Pull my finger." It's like, just kill that guy. Give him a good death. He had the. You know, he had the cojones to,
Or at least
ask
pull
you
his
to pull
finger
at
and then
least-
shoot him.
At least pull his finger, and then, didn't even take part in the joke. What an asshole!
I do want to say one last thing that Michael mentioned to us about how the movie is called Children of Men, but they happen to show a lot of female
Yeah, it's
characters.
like it's Children of Men. There's gonna be one guy. he's got a guy friend who dies almost immediately, and then you're going to follow women the rest of the time, and they're going to save the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, that goes to show you that all men are terrible people. No.
Well,
Except for that one guy.
Yeah. Well, no, it's more just that, I don't know. I think they're making a small statement on, we live in a patriarchy, and fundamentally men are kind of known to be the aggressive ones, and women are known to be the empathetic ones, but they're just kind of showing humanity from lots of different angles, lots of different personalities, and
it took both
yeah.
to get it done.
Yeah,
That's what it's
we
like.
ended with the guy and the girl.
Yeah, because without him, they don't make it.
Right.
Yeah.
And without her, they have no reason to go.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she was pregnant, so
Yeah.
like,
Well, it's
help,
also
help the pregnant lady.
It's a statement on saying you can't make a baby with one person. You have to have men and women to continue society. So why are we dividing?
I did want to just to close out. I wanted to mention this one last thing that I had. It's just a small difference from the book to the movie. In the book, the men are the problem. It's we stop being able to produce sperm. In the movie,
Because of the plastic in the balls.
Yeah.
I was right.
So in the movie, they switched it to now it's a infertility problem in women. So like I wanted to see. Do you think it would be like a different story if they kind of leaned one way or the other?
I didn't get that they put it on the gals.
I didn't really get that either. I feel like
Because
they were
they
just,
said the pregnancy, like they started dying, the baby started dying.
Like
Right.
I think I kind of gleaned that just because of like the
Yeah.
miscarriage thing. Like I think they kind of made it more of like something's going on in the birthing process or something like
that. Yeah,
that
I mean
might be going
that
wrong.
seems a little
Right.
more like for 2006 movies were kind of sexist, but like I do think that the point that they're trying to make is that people cannot have children. Obviously, the only way you can tell is if a woman has a baby or
yeah,
not.
that's the proof's
Yeah.
in the woman.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think fertility. I think the infertility is coming from both guys and girls.
Yeah.
So that's what I.
Yeah, I
Glean from that.
didn't get that. That's okay.
Yeah, no, and
That's okay.
that's why I wanted to bring it up because when I read that I was like, well, I don't know if it was women in the movie that were the problem because like that's what it said in the thing. It was like
On a
But, like, I don't-
scientific note,
yeah,
I think I would say that eggs and sperm are made with very similar types of cells, and our ovaries and gonads are made of similar.
droobles.
Yeah, they're basically the same organ that just makes a little bit of a different variation. So I think that it would affect both men and women
Yeah.
if
I mean,
if one's affected,
realistically,
the other
like
would be.
yeah, because it kind of reminds me of the Handmaid's Tale, where it's like, yeah, men are also the problem because most of these guys are infertile too.
Right.
So it's like,
In The Handmaid's Tale, it's very much about
yeah,
splitting the genders and,
Yeah,
and
it's-
blaming women.
right. But yeah, that's a story for another day.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd say overall, good movie from all of us. You
Good movie, sad movie.
yeah, sad movie, but
Contemplative
good movie.
movie.
The movie was well made,
Yeah.
well written.
Yeah.
It's
And
a solid one to go back
part
to.
of the writing was not too much writing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, and I think this was a good one to kind of start off this new season kind of like with a serious, like more grounded discussion because we're going to go completely left field next one.
Yeah, are we?
Yeah, I think so. But we'll figure it out and we'll see you guys in another 2 weeks.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.